Hello, and welcome to this edition of Behind the Badge. I'm Christy Hopkins, Director of Media and Public Relations for the Harford County Sheriff's Office. We're committed to making Harford County a safe place to live, work, and play. As part of that mission, we work to provide our citizens with the information and tools they need. One of these tools is our active assailant training, in the event of an active shooter situation. Let's find out how that works and how you can prepare.
Hi, my name is Senior Deputy Brad Crossley from the Harford County Sheriff's Office Community Service Division, and today we'll be discussing civilian response to active assailant situations. Due to the quickly evolving nature of these situations, there are things that you can do to make you as safe as possible. Here at the Harford County Sheriff's Office, we recommend the Run, Hide, Fight model. First, let's talk about run. If you can get out as quickly as you can. Do not worry about your belongings, they are not important. Help others, but do not let them slow you down with their indecisions. Once you get outside, get to a safe location. And don't let others enter the location that the incident is happening. Please try to remain calm, and once you are safe, dial 911 for help. If you can't evacuate, then we need to hide. We want to do a thing called dynamic barricading. If you're in a room with a door and a lock, utilize that. Once we have that locked, we want to barricade the door. Use any equipment that you can inside the room. If you're still in the room, try and hide behind large objects. Silence your cell phones, turn off lights, and try and remain calm and quiet. And if we can't evacuate and your life is in imminent danger, we need to fight. Improvise weapons. Improvised weapons can be anything inside the room, from a stapler to a fire extinguisher to a chair. Use the swarming technique, which is utilizing the other people in the room with you. If you need to, attack the suspect from multiple angles. And you want to act aggressive and yell and move about the room to disorient the suspect. If you're interested in further training, please contact us here at the Sheriff's Office, and we'll be more than happy to get that training set up for you.
Another important tool the Harford County Sheriff's Office employs in our crime-fighting efforts is our canine force. Let's meet our newest canine, Zorro.
Hi, I'm Deputy First Class Alan Jennings, and this is my partner Canine Zorro, and we're the newest addition to the Harford County Sheriff's Office Canine Unit. Zorro's a 2-year-old German Shepherd. He's originally from Slovakia. We started with the canine unit back in May of 2022, and he's a dual-purpose canine, which means we specialize in patrol as well as narcotics detection. What that means is he can search for suspects of a crime, whether that be a burglary suspect hiding in a building or tracking a robbery suspect. He can also find human odor on objects, which means he can do evidence searches if a suspect throws something into the woods or the brush that we need to find to help patrol. And he's also trained to detect 4 different odors. So the 4 odors that Zorro's trained to detect are heroin, methamphetamine, cocaine, and ecstasy. The primary reason why we use canine in law enforcement is because of how powerful their noses are. They can smell things that we can't see and we can't even smell. So we can use them as locating tools to find things like drugs or bad guys hiding or even evidence of a crime that was hidden. Zorro's favorite thing to do is come to work. Every time we leave the house, even if it's just for a walk, he pulls hard to the car, wants to come to work. He's all gas, no brakes. His favorite thing to do when we're off duty is actually play fetch. He loves playing with a chuck it ball, and he loves wrestling with his other brother. I have another dog at home that he likes to play with. Zorro's a friendly dog, but just like any other working canine, if you see him on the street, you should ask a handler before you walk up and try to pet him. When we first got Zorro, his Slovakian name was Zarny. Growing up, I always liked the movie Zorro, and having an all-black German Shepherd, his fur just kind of matches the costume that the main character wore, so it just kind of fit. Zorro and I are excited to be the newest additions to this great team that's working hard to keep Harford County safe.
Welcome back to Behind the Badge. Through our Legacy of Service series, we've been hearing from members of our law enforcement and corrections families. Their stories and their histories have been informative, sometimes humorous, and always inspirational. Let's meet members of another family dedicating their lives to making our community stronger and our neighborhoods safer. welcome to both of you. I appreciate your time coming and talking to us today. As you know, we're talking about legacy of service and generations of a family that have dedicated their careers to the Harford County Sheriff's Office and public safety in Harford County. So I welcome both of you. And just to start off, I'd like for each of you to tell me who you are and the job that you hold here and how long you've served the citizens. We'll start with you.
My name is Paul Cole, and I'm the chaplain with the Harford County Sheriff's Office, and I'm a chaplain for the law enforcement side and also the detention center. And I've been chaplain for 5 years, but it doesn't really start there. We can go all the way back to 1978 when I became a member of the Harford County Sheriff's Office as a recruit deputy getting ready to go into the Sheriff's Office Academy. So total it's about 43 years of service.
And I think you were in entrance level 2?
Yes.
So second class, that was our formal recruit class for the Sheriff's Office. So, and then your son, Paul Cole, as well. You want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Paul Cole, and I'm a lieutenant at the Harford County Detention Center. I've been there 17 short years. Time flies when you're having fun. And currently, I am the lower level commander, which I'm in charge of the kitchen, work release, and maintenance.
So I want to know a little bit about what was it like growing up in the Cole house. Paul, when you would come home, did you talk about work? I know you were a detective for a lot of years. Is that something you shared with family or something you kept more private?
I would talk in generalities because I spent 17 years in CID in major cases, and so I met a lot of good people. I met some that weren't so nice. I saw some horrible things. I saw some good things. And I learned a lot about people and how to read them. I saw people in crisis, and I would pass the life lessons on to my family. For instance, I had talked to my family about being aware of their surroundings when they get out of the car, and or if they go into a public place, just be aware of their surrounding and what is going on. So I did take what I learned, very valuable knowledge dealing with people in crisis. That was very helpful.
And can you talk to me a little bit about your early memories of your dad working at the Sheriff's Office?
Sure. So I guess my fondest memories were around the time I was 5. And, you know, my dad was out till all hours of the night, come back in, and, you know, I'm there watching Scooby-Doo and, you know, trying to solve the case, you know, and he's actually doing it in real life. And, you know, I'd watch Metro Crime Stoppers, and, you know, he would be on there, you know, trying to get more tips, you know, him and Eddie Hopkins. So it was cool actually seeing my dad and Eddie on TV and, you know, thinking, wow, these are people I know. They're, you know, out in the community. They're trying to solve crime. So I thought that was really cool. That's probably one of my fondest memories.
And then did you expect at that time that maybe you would have a career in law enforcement, that you'd follow in your dad's footsteps?
I thought so, but, you know, from the time I was 5 till I actually joined the agency, you know, I wavered a little bit, but, you know, my dad talked to me about, you know, health benefits and retirement, and, you know, he kind of broke it down to me that, hey, you work 25 years, and, you know, when you retire, you get 50%, you know, of, you know, your highest rate when you retire. So I thought that was really cool. I was like, you know, hey, I'll do 25, put the time in, and I'll get money for the rest of my life. So I thought that was a good selling point.
Do you remember the conversation when Paul came to you and said he wanted to join the Sheriff's Office? What was that like?
Well, he came home from school one day, and one of the recruiters from the detention center was there at the school, and he was impressed with the person giving the presentation, and he came home and said he wanted to join the detention center to be a correctional officer. And I was a little surprised, to be honest with you, because I really didn't, I was always very careful never to push our children in any one certain direction, no matter what it was. If they decide to do something, we would rally behind them and give them the resources and help. and I was surprised that he wanted to be a correctional officer, but I was all for it, I was behind him 100% for that.
And do you worry about him? Given the climate with law enforcement and corrections today, did you worry about him when he made that decision? Did your wife worry, his mom, when he was making that choice? You're smiling.
Yeah. I wasn't worried about him because being in the sheriff's office, I knew a little bit about corrections and how things operated, so I wasn't really concerned at all. I had made it a career in law enforcement, and so I knew a lot about it.
Why are you smiling? Your mom a little nervous?
My mom was a little nervous. Like in my head, I'm hearing, well, that's my baby. I'm hearing that. She had every, right to feel that way. But, after joining and working there for a little bit, I was able to explain to her that it's like a city within a city, and it's very safe, and you don't have to worry about a lot of stuff that you would have to worry about on the outside. So, I sold her on it, and, she feels a lot better about everything.
So as you've moved through your career, do you reach out to your dad? Do you ask advice? Do you look to him for a little bit of insight?
Sure. I mean, he's a wealth of knowledge. His experience with the sheriff's office, but life experience in general. But, from the very beginning, he always told me, take your time, don't be in a rush, do unto others as you would have done unto you, and that's valuable. So, I just take my time and, always lend an ear to people. I run into people that are in crisis or, need assistance solving their problems, and so that's been one of my mottos.
I know both of you, outside of your careers, have given a lifetime of service volunteering in the community. So it's of no surprise to me that you give of service to the county as your full-time job, but then also in your volunteer work. Can you talk a little bit about your volunteering in the community?
Soon after I joined the sheriff's office, I got very active in the local church near our home. And I got involved in the bus ministry there. And I did that for about 7 years. And I would go out every Saturday in the low-income housing, and most of it was on the Route 40 corridor, Edgewood, Joppatown. And I would knock on doors and invite people to church. And then on Sunday we would send a crew. I would go with them. We would send a crew to pick up. It was mostly children that came. Once in a while an adult would come with them, and that was a wonderful ministry, and we really did reach a lot of children that way. We would take them to church, and we had junior church for them. We'd usually have some events. We did that for Vacation Bible School. They would pack the buses, and we'd have Vacation Bible School for them in the summertime, and that was a wonderful ministry. I enjoyed that. Always active in the church. It was interesting because once I joined the sheriff's office, I grew up in a good home, a good Christian home, and I didn't see a lot. But once I joined the sheriff's office, you see people at their best and people at their worst, and it was amazing how far people can go the wrong way. And I see it as really how far you can get away from God. And it really made me realize the value of having a relationship with Jesus Christ. And as a result of my work at the sheriff's office, that was part of the reason that I made a commitment to Christ and got involved. And later on, I studied theology and worked in the church in many different aspects, and taught Sunday school, and I ended up being a pastor. And part of that was the influence that I had at the sheriff's office. And I would say wholeheartedly, other than the theological training, I would say probably the best training you could have for a pastor is being in the sheriff's office. And I say that because most of my career, 17 years, I was in CID, and I had to deal with a lot of families going through crisis. We did rapes, robberies, homicides. Early days we did some child abuse, and really dealing with people in crisis. And you learn how to help them through it and the resources available. Talking to people, you learn to read them, you learn body language. So that was wonderful being a pastor. I walked right into the job and felt very comfortable with it.
So it sounds to me almost like it was a natural transition to then, after retirement, to become chaplain, but you said it wasn't necessarily part of your original plan. Can you talk about how you came to be the chaplain?
Yes, I was pastoring a church in Fallston, and I was looking forward to retiring to be able to devote my full time to that. But that didn't happen. Coincidentally, at least that's what I was thinking, the job became available when I'm getting ready to retire. And that job usually doesn't come available too often. So a couple of people brought it to my attention, and I got thinking about it. I didn't know a whole lot about it, but I really prayed on it, and really I feel being a pastor is a calling. I felt like I was called to be in the detention center, and I have no doubts that I was called to be the chaplain. It was such a wonderful fit. I went through the process and I got hired, and I look at it as one of the best ministries that you could have in this country, because it's really the best opportunity to reach people you'll ever have. Because the reason is they come in crisis, and they all want to see the they want to come in and see the chaplain, and the first thing I try to do is give them a spiritual connection. If they already have a faith, help them in the faith that they are. If not, then I try to give them a spiritual connection with the Lord. And then they're there for a while, so we give them material to grow. We start working with them to develop resources. If it's drug addiction, we develop resources. If there's homelessness, whatever their resource need is, we try to provide it. And I don't take credit for that. It's really a team effort, because we have a addictions counselor at the detention center. We have a lady that works in community resources. So it's really a team effort. We all work together we don't want the inmates back. So we try to help them so they don't come back.
So I really think that you're following in your dad's footsteps in more than just career. You're volunteering. You are also very involved in the community. And you want to talk a little bit about why that's important to you?
Sure. Yeah, I guess you could say I'm a chip off the old block. I helped my dad with the bus ministry back in the day, and now currently, I'm doing other fundraising things, whether it's for scholarships to send kids to college, or attending events that might benefit SARC or Anna's House. Just anything that helps the community. I feel led to do that because I feel blessed and fortunate that I am where I am, and there's always people who have it better, but there's a lot of people who have it worse. So it's important to make a difference and give back, and that way maybe one day they can give back too. And it means a lot to people when they're struggling, to get some help and be the change that you want to see.
It's really commendable when people spend their entire career trying to make a difference for other people and then come home and spend their life outside of work trying to make a difference in the lives of other people as well. So truly, thank you from Harford County for doing that. We talked a lot about the two of you being family and your family legacy of service at the Sheriff's Office, but the Sheriff's Office is coming up on 250 years in serving Harford County. What does it mean to be part of that much larger family?
Well, I think, it's cool, it's historical, the relationships that you make with people, the friendships, it's a family within itself. So I think it's definitely special, something that people should be part of, something that I'm glad I was part of. Just not that, but everything the Sheriff's Office has to offer, from the good pay to the benefits, the retirement. I think it's a win-win. It's a good deal overall.
And even once you retire from this agency, do you still, and I know you're still here as our chaplain, but the community of retirees, What's that family like?
Well, it is a family, and I felt like that the minute I became a deputy sheriff. And as a young man, I was 21 when I started, and I became a deputy sheriff, and it started there as a family. And I've always been proud of the professionalism that you see at the sheriff's office, and that has really drawn me to it, but it also kept me there through the years. And also the loyalty to one another in the agency. And that carries on even for the retirees. We stay in touch, and with social media these days and age, you can really keep in touch on what everybody's doing, and so we stay connected. But you do feel like a family and a brotherhood.
So what words do you offer to other people that are thinking about having their own family legacy of service in this community, whether it's at the sheriff's office or through volunteering or being a first responder? Why should people join that?
Well, I think no matter what, we're all remembered by something, whether it be good or bad. So I would say be proactive, do the right thing, stay humble, and if you do that and you help people, you're going to have a good legacy. And I'm kind of partial with the sheriff's office because me and my dad, my wife, all the cool people I've met. So of course I would say join the sheriff's office, build your own legacy, and you won't regret a minute of it. I know I haven't.
Anything to offer?
Yeah. Well, I would say, first of all, my sister joined the sheriff's office. And after I had joined, and she worked as a cook in the detention center and ended up retiring as a records clerk up at the headquarters sheriff's office. I have a brother-in-law who also, Hugh Williams, who retired as a lieutenant here at the sheriff's office. I think to me the legacy means, for me, something like law enforcement or being a first responder, I believe it's a calling. If you're doing it just for the money, you may not make it. Some people do and some people don't. But even as a young child, I knew I wanted to go into law enforcement. And as a teenager, I wavered a little bit, but I went and took criminal justice at college and worked in Ocean City as a policeman for a summer. And I just loved it, and I knew that was my calling. And I think the proof is I'm still here after 43 years. And I've been a pastor for many years, bivocational. And all those things I know are a calling, and I love every minute of it, and I always have.
Well, we certainly thank both of you for your service to the community. Any last parting words that you think you want to share?
I would just say that it's amazing. Here I am, I've got 43 years of service in. One thing I would say is that in this day and age, people really struggle after having a full career. But one thing about the sheriff's office is that the benefits have been very good, and I retired not because I had to, because I want to. I don't have to work because I have to. The pension is good, the health benefits are good, and you don't find that in too many career paths today. So it certainly is something to look into if you're called to do it. And I've loved every minute of it. And I'm just really thank the Lord that I had an opportunity to do something that a lot of people never get the chance to do.
Paul, you have a final thought?
Yeah, I would say, I'm grateful for the opportunity. And, I'm also grateful that I met my wife, Lisa. And if I wasn't with the sheriff's office, that wouldn't have happened. So, definitely one of the best things that's ever happened to me. And, meeting a lot of great people and, building friendships, that will last forever. So, I'm just, humbled and grateful for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. And thank you so much for spending time with us today.
Thank you.
Let's check in now with our cold case file. On September 14, 2003, deputies responded to the area of 1400 Harriman Road in Aberdeen to find the remains of a woman adjacent to the roadway. The victim was eventually identified as Tina Louise Leone, a resident of Massachusetts, and her death was classified as a homicide. The Harford County Sheriff's Office continues to investigate this incident. Anyone with information is asked to contact our Criminal Investigations Division or submit an anonymous tip. Well, that's all for today's show. We have lots more to share with you about who we are, what we do, and how we keep you and your family safe here in Harford County. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram for more information about our agency between episodes, or take a look at our previous shows through our virtual academy. Until next time, for Behind the Badge, I'm Christy Hopkins.